This is going to be a look at Geno Stone's interception in Sunday's 16-13 loss to the Steelers. It was nice for a lot of us Ravens fans to see a young guy make a play like that. It'll also be a little bit of a referendum on the Ravens' coverages all season. Not that this one play proves anything per se, but this play illustrates zone principles, and zone principles out of a look that's somewhat unusual to play zone out of. This is the Ravens, what I call 5-1 look. So the one meaning one inside linebacker, in this case Patrick Queen, and then two edge players, Bowser and Houston, surrounding our three interior D linemen, Matabike, Williams, and Campbell. So I call it a 5-1 because there's five guys on the line of scrimmage. Some people call it a 3-3, but for purposes of this video, I'm going to call it a 5-1 because that's what it is. So anyways, you see it's a little play action fake and a semi-roll right, and Roethlisberger makes a really bad decision throwing this football up. There's not really many options for him once Tyus Bowser drops into the little curl zone or hook zone back here on the backside. So anyway, let's get into it. You got zone principles on the backside. This guy's going to run a little drag, and you'll see Jimmy Smith passes him off because it's zone. Is it cover three? Not necessarily. I mean, there's Patrick Queen's going for some type of run action and the keep. So, and then you'll see he veers off, to get back into his zone, whatever it is. Probably hook to curl. You got zone, like I said here. This receiver Johnson's going away. Jimmy Smith is letting him go through. Stevens is taking him over. Up here to the front side, Chuck Clark and Tavon Young do a really nice job. Chuck Clark's going to pass this guy off. And then Chuck Clark's going to pass this guy off, and then Tavon Young's going to take over the deeper route, and Chuck Clark's going to take the short route. Classic zone principles, all right? So let's look right where Chuck is. Let's go back a little bit. Right where Chuck is getting his hands on the guy slightly from an inside position. You can see that Ben is reading something over here. He's trying to look for. I mean, it kind of works out like smash a little bit, but I don't think that's a poorly drawn line or drawn route. It's not exactly smash if you ask me, but it's somewhat similar. So right to the point where Chuck is jamming the guy up. Let's see what Ben's looking at, and let's see kind of what he sees. All right, so you can see that right where he's jamming him up, Chuck's impeding that route. Ben's actually already coming off that read. He knows it's not there. He's coming backside. Maybe, he could hit this here on the drag. He's got a little bit of pressure from Brandon Williams, and it looks like, Stevens is taking him over and is fine with him, and his feet and his helmet are past him. So whatever Ben's looking at specifically, indicates to him that he can't throw it there. Fine. And then he makes a really poor decision to throw it up. Geno Stone is just in position. We'll get back on him in a second. Goes up, high points the football. If it's not caught by Geno Stone, hell, it's probably intercepted by Tavon Young. So with all of that being said, you got this. You got something like this. And then on the backside, we got this drag, which is inconsequential for Geno Stone. So let's check out Stone. He just stays on top of it. A lot of us have actually joked a couple times this year that he puts on like back pedal clinics. He definitely gets a lot of depth. There is no doubt about that. He's not going to allow himself to get beat deep. And if that's what he's being told to do, then he's executing the team defense philosophy he's being assigned. I like it. I like Geno Stone. I think he looks like he plays the pass well. He plays on special teams. I got him. Me personally, I saw him on 6 special teams plays in this game. I thought, and maybe it was more, but I'm just saying I looked at him on those plays to look for anything else to add to this breakdown. I didn't see anything consequential, so I just chose to highlight this one. I mean, he's just staying. The one thing I do like is he's not going to go through the numbers, and some people say it differently than I do. In high school football, the hashes are wider, so we would say, don't go through the hash until the ball is thrown. So you can see he starts to go, and then he sits back on it. So he's not going through the numbers because he doesn't want to open up something, here, even though there's nothing developing on this play. Nice patience, trying to keep his shoulders square. Good play. Nice to see a young guy make a play as a Ravens fan. Just offering to you that zone principles can be effective, and you can be actually, in some cases, more physical in zone principles. We were able to redirect this guy, and then Chuck's able to get over there underneath or near, the short route, the stop route to the boundary, and then we're still able to have physical coverage on a deeper route with Tavon Young, or at least him being in contact with him with the safety over the top. Zone principles can be a good thing. It gets eyes on the quarterback, gives him multiple players to consider when he comes back to a secondary route. So what I mean is, when he comes back here to this drag, he's got multiple players to consider in terms of Stevens could be running with it. Bowser could be, even though we know Bowser kind of sits in this coverage because he's sitting on the backside. Zone principles could have been better for the Ravens earlier in the year. I feel like we figured that out a little bit later on in the season when our DB core was so depleted, we were forced to play those zone principles. Did they always work against the more talented receivers we faced? No, they did not. I offer to you that hopefully next year, if Wink Martindale's still around, we still see some of these zone principles like we're seeing here. Because I think it fits certain guys' skill sets. I think it fits Chuck Clark's skill set to be a curl flat player. Looks like a pretty good coverage safety to me, a nickel guy. It definitely fits Tyus Bowser's skill set. He can drop in coverage. I'm lucky that these guys happen to be on the field. And the other guy whose skill set it fits, if you ask me, is someone that I'm going to advocate should be kept on this football team, and that's Josh Bynes. Josh Bynes, extremely aware, smart football player. If to me, a person like Josh Bynes, a competitor like Josh Bynes, and I'm preaching now, and I'm not talking about, Geno Stone at all. But if you keep a guy like Josh Bynes around 1 year too long, that's okay. Getting rid of him 1 year too early was a mistake. Look at what he did last year for the Cincinnati Bengals, or now 2 years ago. 99 tackles for the Bengals before he came over back to the Ravens this year with a short stay with the Carolina Panthers through preseason. It plays to his strengths to be in zone coverage. These zone principles, in my opinion, should be a bigger install, should be a bigger piece of what the Ravens are and what they play immediately off the jump in 2022. Let me know what you guys think of that idea that I'm offering, that zone principles should be a bigger piece of what's there, and what you think of some of those thoughts that I had, with Chuck Clark being asked to play curl flat. Tyus Bowser can take great pass drops, and keeping Josh Bynes, because I think once we inserted him into the defensive lineup, it was pretty clear that the level of play, the level of execution, communication, and even passion that you could see was at a much higher level.